Do that. Be super.
Scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Retro Alliance Gaming Presents the Horror Corner. But this time we are doing Halloween month. How are you all doing? Do I look pretty today?
I don't know, you might be out of focus.
I woke up and there was something weird on my face. I don't even know how this got on my face for some reason. I haven't slept in a very long time, so you're going to have to excuse the weird bruising and stuff like that. I can't really do a whole lot about it. So today, what video are we going to do? So last year, we did a top 7 horror movies, and I loved that video, and I decided today we should go ahead and do the top 7, that's right, not 5 or 10, 7, because I'm fucking weird and I can do however I want. Top 7 horror games for me of all time. Now this is my list, and here are my rules. There are no rules. It was really hard to put them in a line, but I love them all, and I'm sure there's more games, a million more to put on the list, but these are the ones that really stand out to me, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Silent Hill 2, that is correct, Silent Hill. So let me go ahead and talk about this series for just a second. The first time I ever played Silent Hill, I was excited but not that impressed with the game. I know everybody's going to want to kill me for this one, but I was looking for a game that had a more direct storyline, and I just came off the high of Resident Evil, and it was very abstract, and I wasn't really that into the gameplay of it. I'm not saying it's a bad game, I just wasn't into it, so don't hate on me. But when Silent Hill 2 came out, I was thinking, okay, I gotta try this. This looks amazing. I saw the trailer, and I remember I was like 16 or 17, and I wanted to convince my brother to pick it up. And I remember seeing this ad that showed like this girl who was like on a swing and her eyes were blacked out, and it's kind of what Shattered Memories looks like on the front cover now, which is weird. Anyways, I remember telling him, oh my god, this looks amazing, and I always knew I had to sell my brother on games, but he had a particular style of selling him, so I think I said something like, the girl, like, her head rolls back, or her eyes roll back, and her head falls off, or whatever it was. I can't remember. Teenagers are little shits. And apparently so was I. So he gets me this game, and I start playing it. And immediately, I feel more gratified than I did with the first game. You start off, and you guys know he's standing in a bathroom, and he's looking in the mirror. And he is walking off, and you just start running into Silent Hill. The thing I loved about this game is, first off, the direct storyline of this game. It's very simple, but this guy is looking for his missing wife, and he happens to be looking for her in Silent Hill. Everybody, I'm sure, has probably played this game by now. There might be a spoiler in here, or actually a big one, so if you don't want to hear it, you might want to go ahead and fast forward. But when I was playing this, I got really into just this basic idea of, okay, we're looking for his wife. And you slowly are descending into Silent Hill, and they give you so much time to get there. The thing that's very impressive about this game, other than I think it controls better and the fighting's better and everything else, is stylistically not only thinking beautiful, but everything in this game is a dark, fucked up metaphor for what actually is going on in James's life and what happened with his wife. And I mean every single part is a metaphor, and they have some really dark shit. You guys can look more into it, but the nurses that are running around, a lot of it had to do with his interpersonal turmoil, sexuality, lots of different things that were going on. Fucking not Pinhead, oh my god, Pyramid Head, excuse me. Pyramid Head also was a metaphor for something that was very dark that was going on with him without giving too much away. And some of the scenes you see in this game are incredibly graphic and disturbing, but you don't really pick up on all this when you're playing through it the first time. You're kind of just thinking all of these characters are monsters, but what you need in real life is Silent Hill is every character you run into, every person you talk to has a purpose to the game. And in this game, it is one of the most deepest psychologically fucked up games I've ever played. I'm not going to go any further than that without doing a review, but what I will say is when I got to the end of this game and you figured out what happened with him and his wife, it is so sad and it is so dark and it's so fucked up that I was overcome with so many emotions. I had to go back and play this game another 10 times, and I realized that it is not only the best Silent Hill game ever made, but it is one of the best horror games ever made, period. If you have not played Silent Hill 2, get ready for a complete and utter mindfuck. Amazing game. You probably already saw a video on this talking about a haunting, or you're going to get ready to see a video on this, but we're going to be talking about not the first Fatal Frame, but Fatal Frame 2. Fatal Frame 2 is one of my favorite horror games, again, of all time. The game, for me, like when I picked up the first one, which was based off of a true story, which again, you probably have seen this video already, and if not, you will. It was very disturbing, but with the second one, it really struck a chord with me. I love Japanese folklore. I love Japanese tales. I love JRPGs. I love everything to do with anything to do in Japan, especially Japanese horror. They got some of the most disturbing and creepy horror stories of all time. And with this game, you have a girl and her sister who are wandering through this town, okay, this very dark, depraved, messed up town, and they're trying to, I'm trying to say this without giving anything away to you guys, but they're trying to learn what is happening and what's going on, kind of like you would in any game that you're playing. Again, don't want to give anything away, but basically, there is a ritual, kind of like the first game, that takes place, but in this one it has to do with the maidens.
We always used to promise each other that we would stay together.
In this story, there are two girls who are twins. One of them follows a red butterfly, and she's running through the middle of the forest, and basically her twin is running after her to try to, you know, save her from wherever she's going, make sure that she doesn't get lost. And they come upon a village, and when they get to this village, everything in the village isn't quite right. It is very dark and fucked up, and they start noticing sinister things going on, and ghostly apparitions, and deaths, and they keep seeing all these ghosts playing out a ritual that is taking place. In this village, without giving too much away, but again, it's going to be a spoiler, it's known as the Crimson Butterfly, and what they believe is that when two twins are born, they, separately, they are meant to actually become one, because when they're one, they're going to be more powerful. So what they do is they do a ritual where they are tied together. They end up strangling one of the twins, killing them, and basically combining their spirits together into one. And by doing this ritual, it unleashes this completely fucked up evil that takes place upon this entire village. There's a lot more to this, and I don't want to give it away, but as they're going through the village, not only are they seeing this ritual being played out, but they're starting to figure out that they may in fact be part of this ritual. This game is brilliant, amazing, disturbing, scary, and beautiful, and there is no guns, no weapons, or any other way to hurt them other than the camera obscura. You basically lift up the camera, you take a picture, and that's how you attack the ghost. We're going to leave it there so we can move over to the next one, but if you're looking for a creepy Halloween game to play, you cannot beat Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. It is absolutely fucking terrifying. Blue Stinger could be classified as a horror game, it could be classified as a sci-fi game, it could be classified as a Christmas game. I'm not even kidding you. It could be classified as every single one of these things, and boy is this game fucking weird.
Wow.
The thing that stands out about Blue Stinger is it is one of the first games to come out that had fully 3D backgrounds. So while with Resident Evil, you have pre-rendered backgrounds and 3D characters, in this game you have fully 3D characters with fully 3D backgrounds, and this was incredibly innovative in the day that it came out. Story-wise, from what I remember, and just so you know, I have a bad memory, but there is a meteor crash that takes place, and Elliot is going to investigate and runs into a guy named Dogs to figure out what's going on. Well, this meteor that crashed basically let out this, let's say, alien being named Nephilim. We're gonna go ahead and leave it at that. And there's a lot of monsters and things going on. Now, while you're playing this game, it is so weird because the lip syncing.
I knew it. She's perfect. She's my kind of girl.
I hope the fuck you do. You'll be a dead son of a bitch, I tell you that.
It won't work. You can't hit her.
What is that thing?
Nephilim.
Nephilim?
She's harmless. So far. I'm Elliot Balad. Thanks for helping me.
You know, at this point, nothing surprises me anymore. My name's Janine King. Nice to meet you, Elliot.
Janine King.
The lip syncing is always completely off. Everything about it is so corny. Even the voice acting in this game is corny.
Saw you hanging out with Caitlin yesterday.
Rebecca, it's not what you did.
I won't hesitate, bitch.
But it is beneficial to the game. There are points when it is legitimately scary, but it's more like a comedy to me, like a comedy horror game, and it is so freaking good. I mean, at one point you're running through a town, and it's Christmas town, so you're hearing this cheerful music. I hope I'm not butchering this music now, but I very well might. Anyways, there's Christmas music going on, and you're just running, and you're thinking everything in this is gonna be nice, it's all cheery and shit, right? No, during this Christmas music, you got these beasts coming out that you're fucking killing. You got all these weapons that you're beating the shit out of them, and instead of just blood coming out of them, they, which it does, there's blood. Coins. Whenever you kill them, they spew out coins, kind of like Scott Pilgrim whenever he destroys one of the boss enemies in the movie. And then you pick up the coins and you use them to purchase things and buy weapons and hassies and drinks and all this different kinds of stuff. And go ahead, play this game, pick up Blue Stinger, freaking amazing. Clock Tower. Clock Tower is a game that originally came out for the SNES. Clock Tower is a game. Clock Tower is. Is this red light, green light? You know what? You're gonna keep pressing.
Every time you say clock tower.
Okay, so we're done saying tower. Sea Tower. Is a game that came out in the Super Famicom and basically was about this killer named Scissorman. I'm not going to go into the entire story, but they ended up not remaking it, but making a sequel for the PS1 called Clock Tower. So it's not called Clock. I'm so screwed. So the Clock Tower game on Fuck. On PS1 follows directly from the story of the first game. Basically, this girl, Jennifer, right? Jennifer? She was a kid in the first one, so she's absolutely traumatized by what took place in the original Clock Tower. So she gets adopted by the Maxwell family, which is from the original, and she's basically undergoing psychological treatment, trying to work her way through this, realizing that nobody's coming to kill her anymore, everything is good and everything is calm. So the game kind of goes on, and she's hanging out and getting ready to go on a date, and basically she's walking home and she starts seeing somebody following her, and you get into her dorm, and and guess what? Guess who is waiting for her? Scissorman is sitting there waiting for her again. What is amazing about this game? This is a point-and-click horror game. A lot of people don't love point-and-clicks. I adore them, and this is one of the best point-and-click horror games you will ever play. You are spending the entire time not only trying to learn how the fuck Scissorman is still here when he's supposed to be dead and uncovering this entire story, but you're basically trying to run away from him the entire time. You get little breaks in between, and the only thing you can do is you can hide in a bathroom, in a stall, and he'll either find you or he won't. You see him creeping up on you, and you're just kind of breathing deeply, hoping that he's not going to kill you. And sometimes he walks away, sometimes he murders you. You could hide in the corner with a broom and knock him over the head, which I always wondered, if you could just knock him over the head with a broom and he knocks out for 10 minutes, get a fucking cast iron fucking pan and hit him, and he'd probably be dead, you would think, right? Yeah! So you keep continuing this way throughout the entire game, being chased by him, and there were some hilarious scenes. One of my favorite scenes in the game I remember is you walk into a room. You don't always get this scene unless you play the game a certain way, and there's a CRT television on, and he's kind of sitting on his chair and he's rocking back and forth, and he's like like he's doing this weird thing with his face. I don't know what it was, but it's funny, and it scared the fuck out of Edna when we were playing it. There's a part where you're just walking and he jumps over the fucking railing and just jumps at you. It is scary.
That was pretty terrifying.
Another one of my favorite scenes is you walk into a room and you're just looking around at shit and grabbing stuff, and suddenly the fax machine goes off and you just hear the old 90s fax machine, and a piece of paper comes out. And you'll mean it, oh, playing this, and then you run over and you grab it, and suddenly the music gets dark, like dun dun, and it shows, and it says, I can see you, or I know where you are. And it is so creepy thinking that he's searching for you. Anyways, guys, you should try out Clock Tower, one of my favorite games of all time. It is beautiful. It is brilliant. Let's move on to the next, because this video is going to be an hour. She already has 20 minutes to edit down. Resident Evil 3 Code Veronica. I emphasize the 3 because Resident Evil Code Veronica, that is Resident Evil 3. Nemesis is the spin-off. I'm letting you guys learn this now. The only reason they didn't call Resident Evil Code Veronica Resident Evil 3 is because Sony said you cannot have a numbered game on another competition's console. It is 3. Anyways, now that I got that out.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Sorry, I get really angry about that. Following Resident Evil 2, this is one of the best Resident Evil games ever made. You have Claire, you have Chris, you have Claire's semi-boyfriend in it. What's his name? I'm just gonna call him Enrico Iglesias. I can't remember his name. That's what I normally call people. I don't remember their name. Enrico Iglesias. What is his name? Wilbert? Bob? Frank? Okay, you know what? We're gonna call him Squidward Tortellini. That is his name. Squidward Tortellini, which is Claire's boyfriend. So anyways, guys, so basically she runs into Squidward Tortellini, and she is in this prison compound, and it takes place
Pretty sure it's Steve, by the way.
Steve Tortellini. But yeah, so it starts out right from the end of Resident Evil 2, the city's destroyed, and you end up being in I think it's here, but you're in another country, and she's locked up in a prison, and you are trying to figure out what's going on with Umbrella and move forward. I can't give the game away. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It is one of the most brilliant games in the world. It has one of the best stories of any Resident Evil game I've ever played, and one of the creepiest things I just want to come and tell you about is that there's like a brother and a sister. They're the Ashburns. Yes.
Don't interrupt me. I can actually do the laugh.
Do the laugh.
I did.
Okay. Do it again.
I don't do things on command.
So you got this brother and this sister, and there's this one part I remember where you see like a backdrop of them, and they're sitting there looking at each other, and there's like this dragonfly. You guys are gonna have to see this, and they're pulling up the dragonfly and they're ripping off the wings, you know, and you just see them basically taking away whatever could make this dragonfly live. And when they're done and they're looking at this dragonfly in a little sociopathic, weird, creepy, incestuous Alabama way, they just kind of bring their heads up and they just look at each other and they go, and they look at each other and smile. And I swear to God, it looks like they're going to make out. There is something wrong with these two. They have this weird relationship and this weird thing going on, and it all connects through this entire brilliant game and its story. And at the end of the game, the finale of Code Veronica, they say, let's go get Umbrella. And I've been waiting for that game ever since, because it never fucking happened. Instead we got Resident Evil 4. Yay, everybody loves it. It's the best fucking game in the world. Oh my God. Play Code Veronica. Fantastic freaking game. And you're gonna really love Claire and Steve Buscemi in it. They're amazing. Or Squidward Tortellini, or whatever the fuck his name is. Steve's his name. Resident Evil Original. Not the remake, the original. The remake is absolutely fantastic, but the original with its weird, fucked up graphics was really awesome, and I'm not sure why I'm doing this with my hands. Okay, so very quick story for Resident Evil 1. When I played the original Resident Evil, I was hooked. I looked at the game and I had to have it, and I remember I wanted a Saturn or a PlayStation. I ended up getting a PlayStation, and I would play this game at 11 years old by myself. I had never seen anything like this game. This game terrified me to my fucking core. The music, the graphics, everything about it, and then the corny opening. Who can beat the corny opening where they're like, you know, Chris Redfield, Claire, or not Claire, Rebecca Chambers, Resident Evil. It opens up like a movie. And I remember renting it and getting to the part with the pictures where you have to line up all the pictures, and I thought that was the end of the game, because back then games weren't that long. And when I bought the game, I figured out that I wasn't even close to the end of this game. This game is one of the be-all, end-all horror games of all time. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It is dark, it is creepy, it is disturbing, and things that people might look at as kind of funny now, when I played when I was a kid, really freaked me out. Like, for example, Boar, Itchy, Tasty. Holy shit. That game, just every part of it, reading the diaries of these people who were working for Umbrella and they were being destroyed, basically destroyed and fucked up and turning into zombies. It was a crazy, crazy awesome game, and you guys all need to play it. Number 1, Bubsy 3D on the PlayStation. Fucking terrifying. That's it. You can turn off the video now. I'm done. Okay, what is my number 1? What would my number 1 be? It would be the most underrated game ever made, and that is Illbleed. Of course, that's going to be my number 1. If you want to see a more in-depth of this game, you can go ahead and look at our You Should Play. But
also my Speed Paint.
Yeah, and her Speed Paint. Illbleed is a game that came out on the Sega Dreamcast in the year 2000 by Climax Games, who made Blue Stinger and many other awesome games, including RPGs. And it basically follows Erika Christie, which is a girl who used to work with her father in a horror-themed park, who has PTSD and never wants to return, and basically she goes back there with her friends because there's a prize of $1 million if they can make it through the park. This park, for some reason, never gets shut down. People die every day, they're aware people are dying every day, and they never shut the park down, so it's just widely accepted that people are going to die when they go to this park, so maybe they're all just signing off on something before they get there. This game, people don't talk about enough. The thing that is most ingenious about this game is that every level is a different game. The overall game is a hub and a story that you have, but in the park, you have one, like the first story, the home run of death with Bam Ball, which is like, Jimmy! Jimmy!
Jimmy, love Jimmy! Oh, number 3, quest best! Jimmy's best! I love his best!
And it's like, and he's upset because he's like, his son got burnt up and he's burnt up in his
Wow,
body.
that's just a really crude way to put that.
Well, they could watch the other story. I can't let the video go on forever, but these kids tormented his son and killed him. He is pissed off, and he wants to chase everybody. His hip is hanging halfway off his body. He's the entire time. It's creepy. You go from that to another story about a guy who has this weird relationship with basically a giant earthworm.
Rachel! I've missed you so. You appear to be okay. Oh, that's a relief. At last, we can be together forever. Let's go back to hell. Hey, you, young one! Thank you. I'll never forget your kindness.
There's a killer grocery store with flying dolls that are stabbing at you. There is so much to this game. There's multiple endings. There is creepy music. It is one of the best horror games I've ever played, but it's misunderstood because people think this is just a scary horror game. This is not Silent Hill. This is not Resident Evil. What you are getting with Illbleed is something more attuned to Evil Dead 2. Blood, guts, gore, and weirdness all mixed into this wonderful package of eccentricness and something that I have never seen before or after. Go play Illbleed, go check out Bamball, enjoy this game. It is my #1 pick. Alrighty guys, so what did you think? Did you agree with any of the games that I mentioned? Why don't you click below, let me know, what is your favorite horror games that you enjoy
What are?
the most? Let me know in the comments below. I would really like to see what you think. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, my friends, until next time. That's a great name, isn't it? I don't know why, but that kind of gave me a tickle in my pants. Do I have a thing for Squidward? Oh god, do I have to join a weird fandom?
It's a nose thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not putting that in.
What? I'm not putting that in.